Hello YouTubers, we are going to revisit the Silhouette Cameo app. I had done a video last year on it when it was out in beta. It's a full app that's out in release for the general public now. Today we are going to sketch and then cut. It is a functional app, it's a bit limited, so we're going to go over some of its limitations and then we're going to sketch and cut with it. It is a useful little tool to have. It is connected via Bluetooth, so you will need a Cameo 3 or 4 for it. It will not work with the 1 or 2 or the Curio. So, let me go show you what you need. Alright, so we're going to sketch and cut because I wanted to show y'all how to do 2 things in the app at once, basically. So we're going to sketch and then get it to cut. But the app can cut just regular plain HTV. It can cut anything that the machine can, basically. As long as you get it set up in the software first. That's the big key with getting the app to work. But it can cut HTV. But specifically for this project, you're going to need a piece of paper. This is my very, very well-loved mat. And I'm going to use tape to get my paper to stick because it won't stick to the well-loved mat at this point. Big fan of the well-loved mat for paper because paper is notorious for sticking to the mats and becoming a nightmare. So well-loved mat. And this is black Astrobright cardstock. It's one of my favorites to draw on. And then this is the Chomas marker holder. It's my favorite. And then this is a white pen. And I'll leave links down below to all of this. But I love drawing with a white pen on the black paper. And then I'm just using the auto blades. The auto blades are a bit easier to work with in the app because it automatically sets it. It's a little more fiddly to have to go find a blade in depth for the ratchet blades. So an auto blade if you have one. And then I'm using my big giant iPad, but any of the, it's an iPad app or an Android app. And then a Bluetooth machine, so you're going to need a iPad or you're going to need a Cameo 3 or 4. Alright, so we are in Silhouette Studio. For whatever reason, when I opened it, decided to do this little bitty square. I don't know why. So come over here to Custom, and we're going to go to Letter. And then right here is Transparency, where I can show it either solid or all the way to my grid. Now, the key to getting the app to work is that you have to save everything finished in Silhouette Studio in your library, and then the app can cut. The app can do nothing else pretty much on its own except cut a finished design. So you need to have everything finished in here before you take it to the app, or else the app's not going to work. You can't really do anything in the app. So that's the key to getting it to work. So we're going to do File and Merge and bring in my sketch file. And that's my sketch file, little heart sketch file. And then you can size them to be whatever it is you want them to be in here. And then this is a sketch file, which means it's single lined. It's designed to be drawn with a pen. If you tried to cut this out of HTV, it wouldn't work. You would just end up with cuts in your HTV. So this is what's called a sketch file or a single line fill or a single line drawing. And then if I type out like A, this is Arial, see it's got the outline. And that's normally why people end up not liking this to sketches because they end up with the wrong thing. But and then we're gonna put a letter in here, and then we're just gonna use, this is Skinny Jeans Sketch. It's one of my fonts. It's a single line sketch file as well, so you can type out whatever you want to and it looks like it's drawn. So we're gonna put our A in here, and then we are going to group all of this and come over here to Offset and put an offset around it. The offset is going to act as our cut line, so we can cut out our sketch file. So I've just used the default settings. I'm going to hit Apply, and then I'm going to come in here and right click and release Compound Path, and then that will, now if I hold Shift and select that, I want to delete all of this because I don't want any of that to cut. So I'm going to hit delete, and then I'm going to come up here to line line color up here and make everything red. So my inside is red, and that's what I want to draw. And then my outside, my inside is black, and that's what I want to draw. And then my outside is the red line, and that's what I want to cut. Now, and see, this is my finished design. I can't put an offset, I can't add any fonts, I can't do any of that in the app. Everything has to be set up, ready to cut in Studio, or else it's not going to work. So now I'm going to do File and Save As, and I'm going to save it to my library. It needs to be under User Designs. It won't go anywhere else. User Designs. And then down here I'm going to name it Heart Sketch. And then I want to be logged in and I want to be synced. See where it's green? And it's got the current date down here, date and time. So it means I'm synced, so that anything I do in here is going to go to my library on the app. So I'm going to hit OK. And then I'm going to go over here to my library and double check. See, it's queued, so it's syncing right now, and now my queue is gone, and my check mark is here, which means that it is in my library up on the cloud. Also, this won't work if you somehow have managed to have a really old version of Studio that doesn't have a cloud in it, that isn't accessible to the cloud, like version 3. This won't work in it either. You have to have one of the newer versions of Silhouette. So that's all there is to it. And if you brought in like a finished SVG, you could just bring it in here and cut. And any design that you have in your library will cut. It just needs to be set up and finished. All of these options aren't in the software. That's the big thing to know. So we're gonna save, and then we're gonna go show you how to cut it in the app. All right, so I'm going to stick my paper onto my non-sticky mat, and then I just tape it top and bottom with some painter's tape. I finally bought a tape dispenser. It's so nice. Yes, I'm bad, and yes, I use the Cricut mats. I also have, this is my Chomas marker holder. I'm a big fan of these. My white pen, and then I have my auto blade. Alright, so the app is now available in the App Store. This is what it looked like. It's called Silhouette Go. There's another one out there you have to pay for. This is a free app. You just download it. It's got a couple things under here, under the menu, where you can do a couple things, but we're just gonna go to the library, and then this is our sketch heart right here that we just made. You can pull down the library and refresh it if you have designs in here that are not showing up, that you saved in your library that aren't showing up. You can pull it down to refresh it. Also, make sure that you are signed in. There are some basic setup things for the app that I've already done, like my machine's already paired and things like that, that you would have to do if you were brand new to the app. But we will heart sketch, and it will open up into a mat. Alrighty, so there it is in our mat. Now up here, if you have more designs you want to add, so say I wanted to add that one, I could add them with the little plus up here. Undo and redo are here, so we can undo and redo. And then this is group and ungroup. So if I wanted to group, we can undo. Say I wanted to select all of that and group them. That's group, and then that's ungroup. And then this one is flip. And apparently you can print and cut. I have not tried that on the official app yet. I tried it on the beta app and it didn't work. So we'll have to try that one on another day. And then this is the grid. You can change the grid. And then here, if you want to duplicate it, there's your little button for duplicating it. And then garbage. And then you can rotate it. And then this is how you proportionally, and then you can tap on it, or you can tap on this and specifically change the size. So say I wanted this like 5 inches specifically, and I can hit OK, and that would make it 5 inches specifically wide. So we'll delete this little guy. So there we are on our piece of paper. We'll just move him to the middle. And then see, we're on a Cameo 12 by 12 mat. And then we have a media sizes letter. We could change that to all of those. And then I guess we could change it to a 12 by 24 if we wanted to as well. So we will hit a blue button down here. It says continue to job setting. Okay, so for the first thing we're going to do is sketch. Okay, so I'm going to change this to copy. So you have all your different options up here. All right, so you have all your different options up here, like vinyl and heat transfer. We're under paper, and I'm going to come down here to pattern paper 65 pound and hit continue, and then we are going to sketch and continue, and we're going to obviously use a pen and tool 1. We don't need to mirror our design. Down here you can test or modify, and so I'm going to back the force down to 5. I could also change the speed and passes. You can also test your settings, so we're going to confirm them. Now we're in the what's gonna cut panel right now. So what I want to do is select this guy, the outline, and we're going to tell it to ignore it. And then these guys, we're going to say use those lines. So the red is darker, that's what's going to draw. And see how this one's lighter? It's because we told it to ignore it. And so that way it won't do anything. We'll just get our little design to draw. So we hit continue, and I'm going to go over here and load our mat. All right, I want you to notice that my Bluetooth button is on, because it is Bluetooth to my iPad, and obviously the Bluetooth on my iPad is turned on as well. So we're going to load in our mat like we normally would. The Chomas marker holder, this guy, we're going to put in our first holder. It comes with a popsicle stick to act as your spacing guide. I'm a big fan of this for anything that is dragging, including your regular sketch pens, anything like that. Use it as a spacer. And then I always like to come down here and make sure my pen draws first. And then we're going to drop it down so where it just rests on the popsicle stick, and then tighten this guy down. You don't have to tighten the crap out of it. It's fine just resting on the popsicle stick. Also, make sure it's just resting on the popsicle stick. It doesn't need to be like gouging into it. I have a longer yappier tutorial on this guy if y'all really want to see it. And then it's going to walk you through all of this. So put in the mat, put it in, and then load your tools. And then we're going to hit send. Alrighty, so our design is done. Don't remove it, don't unload it. Take your pen holder out, and then put your auto blade in, and then we'll go back over to our app. So the app is going to ask you if it went okay, and you're going to say sure. And we're going to, you can repeat the job, which is really nice if you're ever in like Uber production mode and you're just like popping out the same thing, like stickers or something. You can just absolutely repeat the job. So if I hit return to library, well, we'll do that later. We're going to hit return to arrange. Okay, so we're going to continue to job settings. So now what we're going to do is instead of sketch, we're going to hit change, and we're going to cut. And we're going to continue, and you're going to use the auto blade. And we're going to cut, we're going to use auto blade. Now I do want to modify my settings. I'm going to pop the blade up to a blade of 4, just in case. You can test your settings, like I said before, so we're going to confirm settings. Now, what we're going to do this time is we're going to tell it to ignore all of this, and we're going to cut, we're going to use those lines. So that way it will cut around our design, and it won't do any of that. So we're going to hit continue. We're going to go through the same song and dance again, and we're going to hit send. All right, so this one, yes, we're happy with our cut. I don't know what happens if you hit no. If we return to our library it's gonna get away, or our design's gonna be done. We're not gonna be able to go back to it. We'd have to start all over again with anything we've rearranged, or basically it's gone now. We would have to start back over. So if you hit return to library, your design is done. If I ever hit the back button, it will get rid of my design as well. So anything I've done, if I flipped it, moved it, set it up to be cut, anything like that, it will be done. And then you can just pop it right out. And there we go. I know a lot of people get down on the app because it's really limited compared to Silhouette's big software, but it's really nice to have. If you don't have Business Edition and you have an old Cameo and a new Cameo, you can hook that new one up to Bluetooth and that old one hardwired, and you can run them both at the same time without having to buy Business Edition. If your computer is ever just not wanting to connect to your Cameo, you can try using the Bluetooth on the app. If you ever just don't want to deal with the laptop and you just want to use the iPad for a minute, it totally is really nice to have, and it's completely free. Like I said, it can cut HTV, anything like that. It can draw, it can cut. We may have to do another video on print and cut and see if that works. But it's a really functional app as long as you set everything up in the software and then cut. So I hope that helps. If you have any questions, let me know.